His name isn't Paulie. Well, it is, but it also isn't. And the reason behind his nickname? You think you know it. You don't. Everyone who's watched The Sopranos knows Paulie Walnuts. The slicked back hair, the white streaks, the guy who'd strangle you over a parking spot, then go light a candle at church like nothing happened. His real name? Peter Paul Galtieri. Not Paulie. Not Walnuts. Peter Paul Galtieri. Even his own mother barely calls him that. Now, I know what you're thinking. I already know why he's called Walnuts. And yeah, most Sopranos fans do. It's one of those facts that gets passed around Reddit and fan forums constantly. Young Paulie hijacked a truck, thought it was loaded with expensive TVs, opened it up, walnuts. The whole crew laughed. The name stuck. Simple story. Clean. Makes total sense. Except here's the question nobody ever asks. How do we actually know that? Here's where it gets weird. In all 86 episodes of The Sopranos, the show never once explains why Paulie is called Walnuts. Not once. One of the most iconic nicknames in TV history, and the writers never gave it an on-screen origin. It just exists, like it fell out of the sky. And it gets stranger. They barely even call him Walnuts during the show. The very first time someone says Paulie Walnuts out loud is in season 2. Richie Aprile drops it casually in conversation, and that's it. After that, you can count the uses on 2 hands. The FBI photo array lists him as Paulie Walnuts in season 3. Christopher says it once. Tony Blundetto says it once in season 5. That's basically the whole list. The nickname the entire world associates with this character, and the show almost never uses it. Drop a comment if you actually knew that, because most fans have no idea. So here's what makes this even weirder. Fans knew the name Walnuts all the way back in 1999, right after season 1 finished airing. I actually dug through old Usenet posts to verify this. Usenet is basically the ancient ruins of the internet, the thing that existed before social media, before forums, before basically everything. And people were calling him Paulie Walnuts there, clear as day, in April 1999. But here's the problem. Season 1 never calls him Walnuts. Not one single time. So how did anyone know? Turns out, when The Sopranos was airing, HBO released short episode descriptions, the kind you'd see in a TV guide or on their website. And according to archived websites that pulled directly from HBO's own copy, the description for episode 2 of season 1, 46 long, mentions the name Paulie Walnuts. So the character was never called that on screen, but it slipped out in the official episode description. People saw it, spread it across early internet communities, and the name became common knowledge almost overnight. And here's something that confirms this wasn't an accident. Before the pilot even aired, actor John Ventimiglia auditioned for the show. One of the roles he read for, a character specifically named Paulie Walnuts. David Chase had that nickname locked in from day one. He just never felt the need to explain it to the audience, which leads to the biggest question of all. Where does the Walnut truck story actually come from? Because here's the thing. We know the show never explains it. We know fans learned the name from an episode description. But none of that accounts for the story, the truck, the TVs, the walnuts. Where did that come from? The actor who played Paulie, Tony Sirico, once did an interview for HBO where he said he wasn't even sure why Paulie was called Walnuts. He'd heard different explanations. One was the truck hijacking story. Another, that Paulie was just tough like a walnut shell, hard on the outside, impossible to crack. And David Chase? He apparently never gave the actors a definitive answer. He invented the nickname before the show started and kept the reason to himself. Now, if you've ever looked this up online, you've probably seen Reddit threads and even the Sopranos wiki both citing the same source for the Walnut truck story. A companion book, The Sopranos, A Family History, released in November 2000. Makes sense, right? Official companion book, FBI-style profiles on all the major characters. Of course, that's where the origin story lives. It's not in the book. Not a word. Not a line. There's a whole section dedicated to Paulie. The perfect place to drop a sidebar about the walnut truck. And it's just not there. The book calls him Paulie Walnuts throughout. But the origin? Gone. Never mentioned. So where does the walnut truck story come from? Best theory. HBO once had an interactive web page, FBI-style dossiers on all the major Sopranos characters. Detailed background files written like real law enforcement documents. And that's most likely where the Walnut truck story first appeared in writing. But that page is gone now. The Internet Archive can't recover it. Which means the story that everyone treats as official Sopranos canon, the story that started it all, is technically lost media. What do you think? Does the truck story actually feel right to you? Or do you buy the tough like a walnut explanation more? Let me know below. Think about what we just uncovered. Paulie Walnuts, one of the most iconic characters in the history of television. A guy so memorable that people who've never seen a single episode have heard his name. The show never told you why he's called that. The book everyone cites doesn't have it. And the webpage that probably started the whole story, gone forever. His nickname exists in this weird space between TV legend and digital ghost. And the real origin might be something we simply never get to confirm. That's The Sopranos for you. Even the things you think you know, you don't fully know. Was any of this new to you? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know how many people had no idea the show never actually explained this. And if you want more deep dives like this, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.